Hello and welcome this afternoon to our webinar on remote learning in maths in the early years. We're delighted to have Jade Clifford here today to lead the session. Jade is our Assistant Maths Hub Lead for early years. We're also joined today by Miriam Ryan, who is also Assistant Maths Hub Lead, and also Emma Gale, who you may have remembered from recently, did a webinar for us on remote learning across primary and secondary too. It's really, really helpful, lots of really top tips. So we're all here today to manage the chat box for Jade, and Jade's going to lead the session. So Jade, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you for being on the panel. That's really helpful as well, so that I can have everybody supporting at all times. I will just share my slides. So, hello and welcome to Home Learning in the Early Years. Thank you for coming. Half term is approaching. Only one more week to go, so hopefully you're all settled in and ready for what that may bring. Obviously, we thought it was important to address the early years separately. Emma ran a great session looking at home learning, and I think what came from that was that there seemed to be quite a lot of schools working in particular ways over the national curriculum and in key stages 1 and 2, and early years were looking for a little bit more guidance on their sort of ideas. So this will hopefully offer you some practical advice as well as some more systemic things that can work in your school and in your setting. So I think one of the things I really wanted to focus on throughout this is why it's important to engage parents beyond this pandemic, because parents are a hugely crucial part of early learning, but also of learning as an entirety. By getting parents on board from the start, we are setting up children to succeed in so many ways, and recent research supports that completely. In fact, going as far as saying that parental engagement can actually improve outcomes by 3 months. So it's an absolutely worthwhile endeavour in so many ways. And I think setting up robust, efficient and workable systems now within this is only going to be a positive thing that we can continue. And I also think it recognises that early years is already very good at that. I'm sure we're all constantly on our platform, whether it be Tapestry, Too Simple, or Seesaw, updating parents and trying to keep them on board and aware of the learning that's going on. So just capitalizing on that now, you know, we're in the best position to do that. So that looking beyond this is something that we can all take forward in our practice, which is something quite exciting. Now, early years is different to the rest of the school because it is such a important balancing act. We do have to manage that more practical element that is so important and fundamental to early maths and to early understanding of shape, space, pattern, and all of the elements that come with it. But there is also an element of direct teaching that is involved and needs to be involved. And I think looking at it like this, we do need a specific approach that offers parents the option for both. They are looking for direct teaching opportunities, games, activities, but also we need to develop their confidence and their skill in offering practical opportunities and conversations at home that stimulate and develop reasoning and mathematical vocabulary. So when we're offering home learning for parents and the packs and ideas, there does need to be that balance of the two, of that direct teaching and activity, and just equipping parents with the knowledge and the skills to do it all of the time, which they probably already are. So just really empowering them to do both. I really like this quote from Sue Gifford, who is an early years practitioner who I admire very much. She does a lot of research into early maths, and she again looks at this idea of how do we balance that direct teaching and that playfulness and that natural curiosity, that innate interest and their age. How do we support children to really understand and learn in the way that is right for them, and to not become fearful. You know, the characteristics of learning are there for a reason, and we really need to be promoting those even in this time. So where are we now? Where are we currently? Obviously, we are in a situation that has been going on since March. Lots of our children, I don't know about you, I teach in a school where a lot of our children have not been to nursery since March. They have not been attending. They are coming from varying situations, varying points. And actually, I've very much taken it at face value. The child that has come to me is the child I'm working with. I think for all of us, it is about recognizing where that child is at and ensuring that we're not plugging gaps. We're seeing the child as somebody who is learning on a trajectory, a natural trajectory, a natural learning progression that we need to support. Then they haven't missed anything. They're just developing at the normal rate, and we need to make sure we're supporting that and that we're doing that at the right level. They may not have come to us this year at the same level as we're used to if they've had early nursery experience and preschool experience. So there isn't that catch up. It is about looking at how we can teach them the skills that they need in order to have those foundations ready to start in year one next year. I'm also aware that schools will be coming at their planning and their teaching from various points. We've had the new development matters come out this year, just as we kicked off in September. I know some schools are piloting the early learning goals that came out last year. Some are still using the outcomes from 2014. Everything that is included today in this webinar covers all of those things. There's so much crossover, there's so much that you can gain from all of these documents and these changes. But what we really need to focus on now is the mathematical learning and how we can best support that in this time. So everything that you will hear today is based around any setting, working with any of these documents and any of these expectations. So one of the things I started with when I sort of came to put this together was what the barriers are to parental engagement. And actually, the biggest barrier that's been found from all research, from everything, is their own confidence. Parents constantly and always report back that actually they're not mathematical. They find maths really hard and they don't feel confident supporting their child in it. They feel quite negative about it. In fact, we get quite a lot of parents say, oh, I just can't do maths, I don't want to. And we're listening to that and we're hearing that. So one of the things I started with in our setting was sending out a survey. I'm going to try and share that with you now, an example of that. So I made it really simply on SurveyMonkey, and we sent it out on a ping, and it just covered a couple of little areas, and parents filled it out. And some of the key questions I hope you can all see is their confidence, and then just looking a lot at their resources. So before I started planning my home learning, I wanted to know what they actually had, but also get that conversation going around, well, what do we have actually at home? I wanted parents to look and see, well, what do we have, and actually what could we be using mathematically that I didn't realise. So I sent this home and we got full response. I included elements of number blocks, and I also wanted to know what the children were interested in. So what were the children that I was going to be planning for, what were their favourite things to do at home, not necessarily at school. And also getting parents to think about what songs do they know, what do they know, and where are they coming from, and also how they wanted this fed to them. So one of the really important things was, I don't want to overwhelm you. What do you need in order to support your children, and how best would you like that delivered to you? So that was what we sent out initially, and that was
Jay, we can't see the survey. Is there a chance you can show that, or just read out the questions maybe?
I just was sharing a different screen. Sorry, can you see the screen changing?
No.
Have you selected the other screen, Jade?
Let me have a look at that. I'll stop that share and I'll share the new screen. This one. Is that better?
Perfect.
Yeah, sorry, fabulous. So sorry, back to what I was saying. I'll just quickly scroll through some of the questions that I shared. And again, like I said, it took about 10 minutes on SurveyMonkey. It's free to make one. And it just gave me an overview of what the parents wanted and what the children might have at home. Because I don't really know, we haven't done home visits this year. So it has been, it's been different. That's there, and I can share that with anyone who wants to use the same ones. That's absolutely fine. I'll share my other screen now. Okay, thank you. And okay. So that was a really great way of just gathering some information, because we don't want to plan anything that's not actually going to be useful for parents and useful for us. We don't want to, we haven't got the time to be doing that at the moment. And again, something that really helped me with the survey was trying to think about how I wanted children to be learning both at school and at home. I wanted them to get the best use of the time, and actually recognizing that there were so many ways that they could benefit from activities in the same way they do at school when we're teaching them. So today, how I've structured this is that we're going to share some number activities and some games, so some practical ideas. We're going to look at some books and some stories, how we can develop shape and space in home learning, how we can go outside, and how we can get that into routines. This is based around what my parents responded and how I then structured mine, but also about best practice. So you can pick and choose, cherry pick what your parents come back with, and then you can go along those routes, and hopefully I've given you enough to cherry pick from. So where do we begin? We ease them in. So we show them that number is everywhere. We show them that numbers can be on buses, numbers are on packets, numbers are in the shops. So we just give them the opportunity to start recognizing that numbers are surrounding them. This is that parents can always point them out or notice them when they're walking to school, when they're walking around. Oh, look, that's number 4. Which number do we live at? So just giving them those tools, and it might sound simple, but actually just giving them the opportunity to know that that is worthwhile, and that they're not going to confuse the children. They're actually going to stimulate a conversation is really worthwhile. And simplicity is the key to all of this. I think there has been so much said about basic, practical, just letters and number practice as being something that is never redundant. It's never a waste of time. Making sure that parents know that whatever they're doing, the effort alone is going to be worthwhile. So just really giving them that confidence to have a go. And that talking is so important. You know, in a world where our speech and language is significantly dropping, we need to be talking, we need to be using that language. And that's why so many of these activities will be best supported by offering parents some key vocabulary, keywords. However you want to share the ideas, have those keywords really clearly earmarked for the parents so that they're using them in their conversations. So here is just a simple example of some number activities. This is activities that I've sent home with my own class. So it's the idea of just having numbers, and the parents can hide them around the house. Children have to find them, and then they gather the same number of objects, match the quantity in the numeral. Simple games such as that. You might have a game where they're doing some activities where the children have a handful of objects, and they throw them, varying objects, and they throw them down, and they've got to then quickly sort them around the numbers and then arrange them again, attaching the numeral to the quantity. And just any activity where the children are hands-on and practically counting. And and they can count anything. It can be as simple as Cheerios, but making sure that parents know that when they're counting and when they're getting children to recite number, that the important thing is that they're attaching, first of all, the correct number name to that number, and then the numeral as well. But it doesn't have to be a number card that we've laminated. It can be a piece of paper. Really, really clear, to making that clear to parents that the number names and the numeral is the important element of that. Track games, these are one of the most underrated but most fantastic resources. They can be created using a simple pen and paper, and I've got caterpillars here, but I actually find the best ones are the linear ones. So just a simple grid that starts at 1 and you go on to 10. There has been extensive research into the impact that these have on children, and it is phenomenal. It helps them to recognize the ordinal value of numbers, so the stable order principle, that numbers start at 0 and then there is a stable order by which we say number names and numerals are ordered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also that those numbers grow or develop by adding 1 more each time. And that's really, really helped by a game where you are moving an object 1 space each time. So you are having that progression each time as you move through. And again, it can be as simple as turn taking with a parent, right? Who's going to get to 10 first? Let's roll our dice, move our object along. You've won, great. And then get that tally chart going, who's going to win each day. That the amount of mathematical learning and opportunity from a simple game like that is brilliant. Sometimes I do it as my Friday flash. So I say to parents, I've got a child isolating at the moment, every Friday, play that game. How are you getting on? Let me know. We'll keep a tally. So is it parents or children? Have that tally going of who's going to win, parents or children. But every Friday, only activity I'm expecting. You know, it's not groundbreaking, but it's repetitive. Children really like knowing something well, and they like to win. So it works well in both capacities. Now looking at books, as I go through this, if you have any amazing books that you have used to teach number or maths or shape and space, please put them in the chat. We can share those with all. Books are such a key, amazing resource that I think for so long has been tagged to English. I think we've gone, you know, wholeheartedly down the whole phonics. How can we get phonics into story English? How can we develop vocabulary? But there's so much maths in books, and it's suddenly we realise that we can use those books and those stories in another way. One of the great things about using books for home learning is that you can read them to the children. You can video yourself reading the story. You can set up the expectation and the vocabulary that you want, and the parents can watch it with the child. I think that's just a really great thing. You can have a book of the week, so all of your maths is tailored around that one story, and you can really harness the maths. When you're choosing your book, what's really important is that you know the maths that you want to get out of it. What is your focus? So some books are so rich that I think we can get a bit lost in the possibilities, but actually knowing yourself, what is the mathematical focus of sharing this book, and making sure that when you're doing your activities or planning them, that they are focusing on that specific thing. That will help the parents to also develop their own knowledge, but feel that what they're doing is working, because they will see clear progress in how their child is responding. My favourite website for getting ideas about which book to use is coming up on the next slide. Yep, it's Maths Through Stories. So it's free, you can use it, it's brilliant, and it has broken down the books into specific mathematical content. So you don't even have to do the groundwork. It's all there for you. You click on one of the titles, or the big idea, I suppose, and then it gives you a list of books, what the focus is, and the Amazon link. So it literally does everything for you in the world. It's great. And yeah, I use it all the time, especially when I'm thinking what book is good for this. This is the go-to. It works brilliantly. And it's great, and it's free. So I'm gonna give you a idea of how you could use some books now. I've got 2 examples just to give you an ideas and simulate some of the ideas. Any questions, please pop them in the chat at any time. So here's a book called Let's Count. It's brilliant. I really enjoy it. When I use it in class, obviously it's tactile, which is brilliant because the children can touch each object and there's holes and things, so it works really well. But it works just as well using it online. Again, I made a PowerPoint of this, so I just so each time when I was sharing it, the page would turn, and then what I could do is, if the child was watching it, they could actually pause the video and actually touch the objects to count, which is what this book's really, really good for. It's that touch, one-to-one correspondence, that counting. Another reason I like it is because it's a subitizing dream. You've got clear groups of numbers which are small enough to subitize. You've got your 2s here with your extra 3 there. But it also breaks down numbers into colours and variations within that. So if you look through the entire book, on each page, there's different animals and different quantities of animals. So it's really great for those low-level questions, but also as we progress to get to those high-level questions. The scope is huge. Something I really like to do with this is get the children to predict which animal might come next and how many they think there might be. So, we had 7 chicks and we had 8 mice. Now we've got 9 fish. What do we think? How many animals do we think will be on the next page? And then getting them to see, I think I might know that. It's going to be 10. And reason that. Well, how do we know that? What makes you think that? But also, what animal could it be? Maybe it's an elephant. Maybe it's, what could it be? And how might we sort of discuss that with the child? Something else I really like is if I'm working with children who have siblings as well, you can really develop the maths here and work with your colleagues. So how many fins, how many tails, counting in 2s, could we count the scales, those conjectures. So offering parents the ability to broaden their questioning to work with other children, because very rarely are they working in isolation here. But just offering that idea, what if that one swims away, and how many would there be then, and what might happen? So there's so much opportunity in so many of these books, and I do like this one a lot. The next one as well, this is another book that I really love. It's called The Feast for 10, and each day the family go to the supermarket and they gather different objects to have the feast at home, and the feast for 10 of their family members. And this is quite a different book. It gives a lot of different ideas. It's almost a higher level than the previous one. So the previous one focuses on that one-to-one correspondence. This one moves into more higher level developed mathematical understanding. You've got the idea of unitizing here. So there's less about counting each object one at a time, but actually recognizing that there is one bag of jelly beans or 5 kinds of beans. There's not one jelly bean, there's one bag of jelly beans. So there's that idea. And again, the breadth of opportunity for this for older children as well, year 1, year 2, even year 4, it just offers so many opportunities. The objects are also arranged randomly, so you're supporting children to know that objects don't come in lines and they don't come in perfect patterns. They actually come in random orders, and that that we can still find and develop ways that we can count them and how we can quantify that and understand that. So I love those two. So I just wanted to give you those opportunity to show how you could use a story. And also what's great, if you really don't like being behind the camera, they are online, most of them. So someone else will read it for you, which is fabulous. This is another great one, the 5 creatures. I like this one as well because a lot of children have pets. So it almost links in nicely to what they might have at home. So that really works well. Now we're going to look at shape and space. I don't think there's any questions in the chat. Is there anybody?
No, you're fine. Carry on, Jade.
Fabulous, thank you. So next we're looking at shape and space. As many of you will probably know, it has to a degree been ousted from the pilot goals, but that does not mean it is not fundamentally important and essential. And we need to be making sure that when we are offering home learning, this is also included. We can't just go down a number road. This is the groundwork has to be here. Also from my parents, this is the stuff they've got at home. Building blocks, Lego, loose parts, random objects. This is the stuff that we can really capitalize on. They have it. And they love building. You know, you're going to get everyone involved. So it's just giving parents the opportunity to see what they could do. Give them a photograph of random objects aligned in a particular way and show them that they can do it with tins, biscuits, cans, anything that they want. They can create simple models. An activity I really like is putting a barrier between you and having sets of up to 5 to 10 pieces of Lego and creating a pattern and then describing your pattern to the person over the other side and getting them to copy it and then seeing if you've got it right. They love doing that. And seeing if the person's made it the same and just developing things like that. It works really, really well. And block play. So something that I think works so nicely is sharing real life photos. So showing the parents the opportunity for something that might look a mess, what it actually could be. And they need to be real life because the ones you find online are perfect and no child makes a perfect model. They've got random things thrown in and they like to be in the photo. So showing that block play and showing how it can be developed in different ways. And I think what's really nice is to combine different things. You know, lots of parents have a couple of bits of railway here and there and a couple of bits of Duplo, but actually showing them that you can do loads of different things with it. I like making the 3D model of the elephant. That's actually really hard. Children will often build, they wouldn't think to build an actual object like an animal out of that. They might build a house or something that's enclosed, but actually to build something that's a bit more challenging could offer them that other opportunity, those other opportunities. One of the other reasons that block play and building is so great is because even if you don't have any of this swanky stuff, you probably are eating, so you probably have tins and cardboard and stuff. So you can build junk modeling to your heart's content and it will still look amazing. So hopefully, no matter what resources parents have, they can build and they can create using those. Puzzles was something, again, that lots of our parents said they did actually have. So the joy of doing a puzzle, you could have, you know, Puzzle Wednesday, that Wednesdays are the day you do a puzzle, and see if you can get better, see if you can time yourself and get better. Maybe you could up your game and do a 35 piece this week or things like that. Just showing parents that sitting with a child and completing a puzzle is really worthwhile and something that, you know, we might not spend enough time doing. Some of the ideas I've shared here I really liked are ways you could make a puzzle if you don't have any. All you need, I liked the sticker one particularly because I had some older siblings over lockdown who were making these for their siblings. So they would stick lots of stickers on a cardboard sheet and then cut out the cardboard into squares, and then their sibling had to put them together and find the same. And it took off. I think we had about best response from parents just from this. And also you can send some stickers home. I'm sure we've got lots lying around school. But it was just really nice. The siblings liked doing it for the younger children, so it was a lovely activity. And yeah, just putting back together old cereal packets. You don't even have to put it together, you just cut it out and they have to reconfigure. So, the opportunities there are great. And going outside, I think, we're not able to go to parks necessarily if we go into lockdown. I think that for a lot of parents, they felt that the outside was almost not applicable anymore because we couldn't go and play in parks. But actually, there's so much you can do outside without being on a slide or a swing. But it's just giving them that sort of opportunity to see what that could be. So going out, looking at car wheels. Lots of the boys in my class like going and drawing pictures of the car wheels and seeing which ones link to which car, and keeping a tally of the different coloured cars in their street. They were having a great time doing that. And making patterns outside, just showing them that even just collecting leaves and organising them, or sticks, and creating different shapes, that all has a huge amount of meaning, and it has a huge amount of opportunity. The same way that the button activity did, that we saw earlier, where you're attaching the numeral and the objects, you can do exactly the same with sticks outside, and you can use them in different ways. So just repeat the same activity but offer a different stimulus. Works really, really well. And get moving. So lots of the government policies and initiatives at this time are about activity, getting children active. Your PE lead will love you for giving maths activities that are about movement. And it's also a key mathematical skill, that idea of abstraction. So the idea that a child can count anything. They can count jumps, steps, hops, sounds. I think a lot of people forget that actually anything can be counted and can have a quantity attached. So just giving them the opportunity to see that, and creating assault courses. These ones are great. It's just a stick put over different things, and you're going over and under and around. You're developing that language again at all times, and it doesn't have to be groundbreaking. It can be as simple as create this assault course, one object going over, one under, and one around. Send us your videos. So it's just really, really thinking about how you structure what you're offering and giving them clear guidance. And again, you've got your chalk on the floor. They love all of that. Something that is a bit more directed, if parents would like a bit more direction, again, is the hoop game. I love this game. I do it at school all the time. You've got a hoop and anything you want to throw into it, and then the children have to identify what's in and what's out. So if you're looking at part whole in your school and you're really going down that mastery road in early years, again, you've got your perfect model there. You've got 5 as your whole, and 2 are apart, 3 is apart, 3, they didn't make it, 2 did. So your score would be 2, unless your score is 3, because you're doing ones that miss, which they often want to do if they get more that miss. Something that we did, that we sent home, actually, I'll go to the next slide and then go back. So we sent home a little sort of, I suppose, an outdoor learning pack, I suppose, a little bag of things that it simply had number cards, cotton mat, and some string. And that's all it had. And what we asked the children to do was go and collect objects in different ways. So the cotton, the little piece of material, we divided into a tens frame just with a marker, and the children rolled it out and they had to organize things. And with the string, it was just about enclosing a space and filling it. The next week we did measuring with the string. So we got the children to measure different things and record that in a certain way and find things that were the same length, different lengths, and things like that. The mat as well was really, really great for using it as a cover over for a game where they had a particular number of things and then they'd cover them over with their little cotton mat and something would happen underneath. They'd take some and then you had to work out how many were missing and playing those games. So it just from giving the children that little pack, it created 3 weeks worth of learning, which was brilliant. And if you know that you're going to be offering the remote learning, it might be worth having these as an option, or, you know, it's easy things to gather. I think that's what's really important. It's things that parents could find or could gather that isn't going to break the bank and or push them to, you know, going to shops and things, because they don't really want that all the time. I noticed on the register that lots of you are from East Sussex, and you'll probably be very aware of this, but last year they launched 50 things you can do with your under fives, and it was great. And it has, I think 60% of it was about maths, I think, when I worked it out, I think maybe more. So it's a free app, get it on your phone, get parents to download it, and they can go out and do these things. Some of it is about visiting places, but again, they don't have to do all those things. There's 50 things to do. So just a great idea. And it just gets parents, giving them another option if they're on their phones. You know, this is something you could be doing. This is something that everyone can access, and they can do it with other parents and say, oh, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going to do number 5. Okay, great. I will too. And it's just a really nice thing, but that already exists. So, you know, don't rework the real wheel when someone's put this together. I think you can get it anywhere. I just know it's an initiative that East Sussex started, and I thought it was really good. And I know lots and lots of schools were doing it, so I wanted to include it there. Moving on. Sorry, you're probably thinking, oh, but this is the last little bit of this bit. This is about how we include routines in what we offer parents to do. The best way to do this is to give them an example. It's to give them a really, really clear way of showing them how they can include mathematical questioning and discussion in what they're doing. The best place I have found for this is the Ericsson website, and it will be in the follow-up resources. You'll get links to these things. The Ericsson website has examples like this that you can share with parents. So it has actually got prompts of what this child's doing, and then maybe the thing you might say to support it. So it's a really clear guide, but also parents feel empowered because you're sharing it as a teacher and saying, you know, I use these resources. This is something that I use to support my teaching. And actually, it's something that you could use. But it just gives that clear guide and prompt that parents sometimes need, just to show them that they're doing it right, and that actually there are so many opportunities just from unpacking the shopping. In the next, this is a clip which we won't share now, but what's really great about the Ericsson website is they have a lot of clips that are actually in different languages. So were we to play this is a video of a lady singing in Gujarati and counting the different cutlery. So where you're trying to support EAL families, there are a lot of resources on this website where you can show them what you would like them to do in their own language, in their home language. Also, something I would say if you're in Brighton and Hove is working with the EMAS service. EMAS will fully translate any learning grid into the respective language that you need. I have used them, I bow down to them, they are amazing. But if you do need any of that if you want them to sing songs, or if you want people to maybe just translate something for you, they will do that in the home language that you need. So it's brilliant, really, really great to use them if your school work with that service. So here we have a little boy doing some washing. Now, there's so many opportunities with washing and doing the laundry. Just a couple of the ones I wanted to share. So I actually sent this as a whole week's worth of learning just from doing the washing. And they had different activities to do each day. And each time the parents were just seeing what they could do by getting their child to help with the washing. So the simple toss and throw. Can you get it into the baskets? How many? 1, 2, 3. So sorting in that way and getting the child to put the washing into the right baskets. They love doing it. And then they can see how many's in each. You also sorting it in different ways, light and dark, or mummy's things and my things, or big and small. So looking at different ways of doing that. And something that was really interesting is obviously certain things, you might have more of them, but the pile looks smaller. So really looking at, which piece of clothing makes the biggest pile? So you're going to have a bigger pile if you've got jeans as opposed to pants. Why is that? So, getting the children to look and see, but also talk about that quantity and that numerosity it's a really great thing. That they love doing that actually. And then predicting. So predicting which basket will fill up first, or how do you know, what do you think? And also folding, so getting children to fold the clothes and showing them that it's actually symmetrical and that there's different shapes you can make if you're folding towels or different things, that there's actually symmetry involved in that, and that you could recognize shapes that are hidden within clothes. So that's a really nice one. They loved it. And then you've also got your obvious matching. So these things all need to be matched, or we need to sort these into each person's piles. Let's do that. And then you could almost make a graph. I think some of the year 2s might want to make a little graph and put that into some sort of pictorial form, which is lovely. But that that's a whole week of learning, and a great book to support that with is called The Washing Line, and it's brilliant. I can't remember who it's by, but again I can link that. It's just called Washing Line, or Aliens Love Underpants, another great one. I Spy, here we've got a bit of I Spy. Shoe sorting, chuck all the shoes out. They've got to find the matching pairs and organise them for you. Who's a bigger, who's a smaller? Have a shoe shop. Just a week of shoes basically. But giving them those tools, giving them that language, it makes such a difference. So giving them a list of I Spies, and that's what you're wanting them to do that day. That's great. That's enough. Again, a lovely game, Crazy Train. I love this one. You have to make a crazy train, and you have to reason why your object is there based on a shared attribute of the one before. So the children find this quite challenging, but it's quite good. It develops that language and that reasoning. So they might add something that's the same colour. They might add something that's the same shape. Oh, I've chosen that because it's got numbers, or that's electric. So thinking about same and difference, and developing a crazy train. It's a really, really nice one. A lot of people do that a lot, and they've said that it works really well, and you can get siblings involved as well. And again, making Play-Doh, cooking, anything like that, just using those simple instructions and getting people to have a go at making soups, Play-Doh, really simple flapjacks. One of the things I'm going to share at the end is 3-part recipes. So most likely that parents will have these things. If they don't, they don't have to do it, but trying to keep things at a 3-part level really seems to engage parents, because they don't have to go out and get 20 things. It's simple. This one I like because it's no cook, so they can do it, and they don't have to cook it on the hob, so they quite like that. As we sort of come towards the end, it's just thinking about how we're communicating with parents. So I'm not here to sell any particular way. Your school will have a way. Your school will have what they believe is best, and your school will share that with you, and you will adapt to that. We use Tapestry at our school, and I think that works really, really well. You can upload pre-recorded sessions, stories, little videos, but you can also share learning grids and share photos and things, which I really like. So that works well for us, but it's the same on any platform. So it doesn't, your communication tool just needs to be something that the parents can access and want to access and is easy for them. Something that I've done is develop a learning grid for maths. So each week we upload a phonic learning grid and a maths one. And this is something that I'll take a screenshot or a snip and sketch, my favourite, and put it onto Tapestry as a photo. And the activities are sequenced in order to progress a particular mathematical outcome. So I've planned it, and the parents are doing each activity each day. Each activity is about 5 minutes. Parent can do it as much or as little as they want to, but it's giving them just one thing each day that they can do. And then I've really honed in on those key words. So I really want to get that across. The vocabulary is so important, that we are giving parents the key words that they are using all of the time. And again, I'm going to share that template with you, and it's going to be populated, but you can repopulate it with yours. Again, you could adapt this and make it over 2 weeks. It depends what goes on, whether your bubble pops or whatever your circumstances are. I just wanted to share some other opportunities depending on what your school needs and wants. These ones are paid for, so this platform will do it all for you. You pay, and the parents will get sent lessons each day. It is something that I haven't done, but it's something that you could look into as a school. Again, this is a similar one. This has activities, but there is a free trial that you can do. But again, it does come with a cost if you are looking to use it consistently and share these weekly. My personal favourites are ones that are free. So the Learning and Teaching Trajectory is a free website. You do have to sign up, but you can, once you're signed up, all access is free. So you can really support parents. There are some brilliant games that are simple. This one I love. It's just, you click on each person and they get into the bus, and it counts them each time you click. It says the number name out loud, and then the bus drives off. It's also tablet friendly. So there's that whole one-to-one correspondence, and it's a brilliant website full of games and resources. Another game is this one from the learning website, which is Little Turtle, and the children have to look and see how many in the yellow square, and then they click on the corresponding numeral, and then their turtle moves that corresponding amount, and whoever wins is the winner, whichever turtle wins. Some more free go-tos is Toy Theatre. I love this one. So you can send an activity home with parents and get them to go to a specific game, and get the child to have a go. It's really, really good. Bit American at times, but the games are really great, and I use it in school a lot. Again, we've got MathsBot. Now, MathsBot, again, I really like. I use this when I teach in school. So the best way to get children to use technology at home is to have taught it at school first. Get the children to have a go. You start using these things now, because when you then get them to do it at home, they'll know what to do. They can teach their parents. I do use this a lot. I love the Hungarian frame. I love the dice. I love the dominoes. There's just so many opportunities with this. And the children can just explore it at their leisure and do different things with it. So it's really, really great. And the Maths Shed, which is, I only ever thought there was a literacy shed, but no, there is also a Maths Shed. And what it comes with is planning. So it has super sections where there is a book, and then there is a planning document that supports the book with up to 5, 7 activities. So you've already populated your learning grid from here. And I think when I last looked, there were 10 different books with a key mathematical focus and the planning attached. So again, it's there, you've just got to have a look. So just coming to the end, we're going to be a little Q&A in a minute, but key messages are: be consistent and clear, have your expectations set, and sustain your efforts. Don't give up. Be clear on your engagement and sustain that. Whether or not you're getting feedback, keep going, because it might be that they're just not feeding back, but sustain that effort as much as possible. Balance the online and the practical, use that early years approach. And the best way to do that is through everyday routines and activities. So giving the parents that opportunity to use practical activities in their everyday life. This isn't something where they've got to take time out of their day if they're working. This is something you can be doing all the time. Use texts and develop that vocabulary. You know, really support them to develop that. And to round off before we have our Q&A, for the next coming year, Maths Hub has quite a lot to offer in terms of early years, but also in lots of other ways. Your school may already be on a journey, on the Mastery Journey, the 3-year programme, which is great if you are. But we do offer some early years specific CPD and work groups. This is a little diagram to show what we offer. So there's sort of 3 steps to this. It follows the mastery model really well. First step is to get your subject knowledge up to scratch over the year. So you're going to start doing a subject knowledge pathway, and then as you develop your knowledge, that's when you will start to engage with work groups, which are more research based. So you will be homing in on a particular area of knowledge that you know, and we will be developing our research into that as colleagues. There'll be a lot more information about how to sign up to these work groups coming out in the next few weeks. They are year-long projects, each step or each offer. And what the best way to work with this is to follow the sort of steps that I've outlined here. So if you're on the mastery readiness, which has some spaces left, and if your school would like to sign up to the mastery readiness, please do contact the Sussex Maths Hub. And if you are on that journey of that preparation, getting that subject knowledge for your early years is a great place to start. Then as you develop within mastery across your school, getting the next sort of, I suppose, arrow, bow, string to your bow, that's it, string to your bow when you're developing that number. And then once you feel secure as a school and mastery across your your key stages, you can look at developing that. How can we build those foundations really strongly to support a teaching for mastery approach for maths across the school? And yeah, what next, I suppose? So key thing, sign up to the mailing list. If you want to know more about those webinars, and there'll be webinars obviously, but about that training and that CPD, please sign up to the Sussex mailing list. That will be sent out as well, and you will get everything you need. Best as well if you sign up as the teacher, and then you can be sort of coordinating that. I know sometimes EYFS coordinators aren't always in the loop for maths CPD, so trying to sign up for that yourselves. Also, if you're interested in the readiness, that's you'll get information via that. And then following this, there will be you can download a document that I've put together with best practice. It's sort of a reader-friendly version. You'll be getting some handouts and some templates, and the webinar will be uploaded. So yeah, thank you. I think I've waffled enough.
That's great. Thank you so much. That has been a sensational session this afternoon. So comprehensive, so detailed, and full of wonderful ideas. Of course, the video will be shared on our website. Jade's obviously going to send out lots of mail outs to people who've signed up today, and I hope we can get the PDF of the slides out in a certain version of those again. Now, again, before we have any more chat, Emma, Miriam, what was your favourite idea this afternoon that you're going to magpie from today's session?
I really liked all of the activities that gave opportunities for depth built in, because obviously when you're setting remote learning for a whole class, you have such a range, particularly low, there's such a range. So that crazy train, you can imagine different children really accessing that at their level and actually potentially getting better and better and better and more sort of intricate ways of doing it. That and books as well. For, books always are. Different children will get so much out of those.
Emma?
Yeah, for me, I think, one of the bits of feedback we've had as a school is parents struggling with the range of children they've got to support. So I love the idea of using maths through daily routines. For a fact those parents are going to do the washing at some point, and they're going to fill the dishwasher or do some washing up, and the maths that can be promoted through that, I think, is really encouraging for parents who maybe are thinking, oh, I've got a child in year 5, one in year 2, and a reception child. I think that's really exciting.
I love the cotton tens frame mat. That's certainly an idea I'm going to be pinching. I think it's brilliant. I think it's just so, again, transferable, isn't it, to anybody's environment, and anyone's got 10 things in their home, I'm sure they can find to put in that. So I think that was absolutely brilliant. A great way, again, of keeping that imagery, representation and structure really alive in people's homes if we were in a lockdown situation again. So I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And equally, I love the jigsaw puzzles as well. I love the idea of the children making that with their siblings, with stickers and things at home, or even a sibling drawing a picture and then cutting it up for their younger child at home to try and put that together again. It's so, again, easy, user-friendly and transferable to anyone's home. So that was fab as well. Thank you so much. I hope we're going to have a few questions this afternoon, so don't be shy at home. Please do type in your questions now, or still at work, please do type them in. We'd love to hear from you. Lots of positive feedback, Jade. People saying how helpful it's been.
Brilliant, thank you, and thank you for supporting as well.
Okay. Any questions? Again, some great websites you shared this afternoon, so again, that's wonderful.
Done a little poll as well. So I thought people could. I've just used a new online poll system.
Excellent. So please fill your poll in before you leave. That'd be wonderful.
I like polling.
Excellent, just to get some feedback on that. So some lovely ideas, and again, great. Again, the idea of the songs, and we did have some suggestions as well. Somebody wrote in and said, Bears in the Night is a great book apparently, and Anno's Counting Book apparently is also another great one.
I like
fantastic.
This is called Bedtime Maths, and it's American, but inside it there's like a little story for reading at bedtime, and then 4 different levels of questions. So depending on how old your children are, they can build up. My son, he loved. We've got all 3 now. He loved that.
Oh, brilliant! That's great. I love a good book.
I love the fact, Jade, that you presented so many practical ideas that didn't feel too mathsy for parents. I really think that's what people should take from that kind of, as they're supporting the parents at home, not using necessarily specific maths language and all of that. I do think that's going to really empower parents.
Yeah, I really hope so, because from doing that poll, I really wanted to. That they did seem like they weren't confident. That first question, they weren't coming back as confident. And then once we'd given them some suggestions of how they could use what they had, they seemed to improve. I'd like to do that again and see how they feel now.
Great thinking.
Excellent. Well, as I say, lots of positive feedback from lots of people. So thank you everyone who's joined us this afternoon.
Thanks.
And we'll make sure that the website is posted.
People have written lovely things.
And You've got 2 more coming up, your webinars, haven't you? Can you give us a quick flavour of what's coming up in the future, please?
Yeah, so we're going to be doing, oh, sorry, I just made that very large. We're going to be doing one a bit focusing more on books. So really diving deep into books and questioning and how we can get that depth from a key text. And there's going to be a webinar on that. And also, as we enter the summer and spring months, we'll be doing an outdoor learning one. So how can we do some outdoor learning and go big, go wild? So they're going to be the 2.
Wonderful.
Yeah, but if there's any interest or any sort of pressing issue that early years colleagues want help on, please just, you know, contact us or contact me, because we can, you know, one of the joys of having this opportunity to do webinars is to meet your needs as well. That's just what I think people would like. Yeah.
Excellent. We're all very excited already about those. So again, and as Jade said, if you have any suggestions or requests, things you are pressing needs in your school at the moment with you and your colleagues, don't hesitate to contact the Hub, and the team are very keen to try and help you. And if it's needed in your school, no doubt it's needed in lots of schools. So webinars are again a great way of connecting in these very strange times we're living in at the moment. So it's a great way to keep collaborating and supporting one another across the miles. So I'm going to say thank you so much again to Emma, also, and Miriam for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
For your preparation and hard work. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And as I say, we hope to see you again very soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.